Okay, hi everybody. I'm back. Um, as promised, I'm gonna discuss the tank takedown raid with you. All right, and we discussed other raids in the past, or I gave you an overview of raids, and we went into a little more detail on the Sith Triumvirate raid. Um, I'll do an episode about the pit when the pit is active for our guild, and right now I'll show you the tank takedown raid. So you just click on it. Click on battle. You set up your team. I'll just keep the same team. Alright, so for the tank, you have to attack the perimeter cannons before you can actually do any real damage to the tank. So you take out the perimeter cannons first. Thank goodness for Bastilla's protection. Now the perimeter cannons are down and the tank is temporarily disabled and crippled, and now you can actually do damage to the tank itself. And I don't know. I mean, like I told you before, this is the hardest one. You see its health bar is in the red. It's down to 17%. Once it gets under 20, it goes in the red. I don't know if I'll be able to get it all the way down and move on to the next phase. Would be nice, but I'll try. Alright. And again, take note of the icons underneath the health bar, and take note of the one that has the 14 on it. That's basically a turn counter, and when that turn counter gets to 0, watch out. Alright? But for the meantime, I'll just keep attacking the tank. Just keep. So I'll apply buffs to Yoda, and then when it's Yoda's turn, he's gonna spread the buffs to everybody. So use the last ability here. Alright, and it's always good to have as much protection as possible when the tank is about to come back online. Because it comes back with a vengeance, right, as you see. But if you have that protection, you can withstand that and then get back to the business at hand. Take out the perimeter cannons. And you'll realize some characters have a stronger basic attack than others. So you have to know your characters. And I try to use the heavy artillery on the tank when the tank is down. Alright, the tank, you see the speed bar there, so right above the target circle there, or right below the debuffs, you'll see there's the blue bar, and by now you should be familiar with the speed bar. It's getting close to full. So now that I realize it's getting close to full, some of these are temporary buffs, and I'll show you what they are. Right, so with the legendary battle meditation, that comes from Bastilla Shan and Yoda. Alright, so that's for the Jedis. Alright. The ones that are temporary when the tank is disabled are Morale 1 and Morale 2. You see near the bottom there. The second one and the third one from the bottom. So Morale 1 is 100% defense penetration. Morale 2 is 25% speed. Right? But when the tank comes back online, those buffs just automatically disappear. Right? And so it's the way it works. Actually, even though the buff might not technically be related to defense. The way it works, in at least from my experience, the way it works in this particular raid is, even though the buff might not be an actual defensive buff, it really actually helps protect you when the tank, fires its cannons at you. So let me see. I noticed the speed bar is about to fill up, so let me prepare everybody. Let Yoda spread them. Alright, and should be coming back online soon. Alright, so get your protection, then you take out the cannons. So once you know what to do, and if you have the proper team in place, it's not hard just to go through the motions, but just understand that your time is limited, so you gotta take advantage of it while you can. It's not gonna be indefinite. So you see how strong this tank is, right? When we started out, it was at like 17 point something percent, and I've gone through a few cycles now, and it's only down to 15.6%. Barely 2%. So it's not likely, and the countdown is down to 10. It's not likely I'm gonna be able to get all the way down to 0 before that countdown gets to 0. So I'll just continue doing my best, and it's good that you have 5 attempts. So even though I might not do it this time, maybe if I did all 5 attempts today, if I had time for that, I would be able to move on to the next phase. All right. But one thing I always tell, people that I talk to, my, friends, just people, gaming acquaintances, you know, people in my circle, is, video gaming is fun. It's a chance to get away from the norm, which is very necessary, especially during these times. I don't give video games the bad rap that a lot of other people give video games. To me, video games are wonderful. You know, However, it's all about balance. Just like some people like to watch movies, some people like to watch TV, some people like to read books, and to pass time. I prefer video games, and a lot of, millions upon millions of other people agree with me. But however, it's a balance, right? Video games are a part of life. To me, they're an important part of life, but not the most important part of life. Your family, your job, right? Other responsibilities, right? So unless video games are your job, if you develop video games, if you're like a professional tournament player or something like that, then you can, justify spending inordinate amounts of time playing it. But you still have to have balance, right? There's life outside of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Same thing I tell my Alliance members in Marvel Strike Force. I'm a Marvel Strike Force player and Alliance leader also. And some of the Alliance members get annoyed because all of the Alliance members can't devote as much time to it as they do. And I just want to remind people, that there is life outside of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, outside of Marvel Strike Force, outside of video games. You know, video games to me are actually beneficial. Some people say that they're detrimental, but I disagree. I mean, they teach you, depending on the game, they could teach you reflexes, they can teach you strategy, just critical thinking. Everybody's big on critical thinking, in order to get to the next level and eventually, complete the whole video game. For a lot of these games, you need to do a lot of critical thinking, right? So, to me, it's a it's a very helpful activity within reason. And just like with anything, there's a such thing as too much, right? And especially when you become addicted and you start neglecting your other responsibilities because you have to play video games. That's where I draw the line, where it's no longer beneficial. It becomes detrimental if it's too much, right? If it's too much, so I think there's definitely a place in life for video games. It's actually, from what I've heard, now I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not the one that did the studies, but I can't quote the studies now, but I've heard of certain circumstances where video games actually help, like people with special needs, autism, things like that. Help them focus. Help them come out of their shell, right? So there's definitely a place for video games in life. It's one of my favorite pastimes. However, I still have to work. I still have to put food on the table. I have a family, right? So everything within balance, within reason. So if you're, you can't be on either extreme. If you're one of those people that just, video games are just a waste of time, they turn your brain to mush, that's not true. If you understood, how much, that's just somebody that has no idea what they're talking about. They've never played these types of games before. This is like chess. This game and Marvel Strike Force are like chess, and if you tell somebody, oh, this is the chess champion, then all of a sudden everybody is like, oh wow, he must be really smart. He's the chess champion, or she is the chess champion. But this game is basically chess. This is chess with your favorite characters. Now you notice, if I go back to the tank itself, instead of focusing on the cannon, the countdown came down, right? So the skull, you see the skull is empty. So now, fearsome foe, right? A fearsome foe, I'm not going to read all of that. But basically, what it tells you is your time is up. When that countdown runs out, it's like the raid boss's abilities were limited while that was not active. But now that it's active, you're in trouble. I'll see if I can just get one more round where I can bring this oops, I didn't want to do that one. Alright, so I was able to get one more round, but I just know now the next time this thing comes online, that's the end for me. And so I was able to get it down maybe roughly 5%. So, and this is a stronger team. Not every team is even going to be able to get it 5%. So there's a possibility I could do all 5 of my attempts today and not even get out of this section. Alright. It doesn't make sense to take out the cannons now, because the next time he shoots, we're gone. So I'll just focus on the tank right now. Alright. So that's my take on video games. There is a place for them. And just like People love to read, they love to watch their favorite show. I like to play my favorite game, but I do understand that there's a limit, and this cannot take over your life, right? You still have to take care of other responsibilities, all right? And that's the tank takedown raid. This one takes the longest to complete, as you see. But as we go, and as the other members of the guild get even stronger, it'll be easier because they'll be able to make even more contributions, and it'll go faster as everybody gets stronger. So I don't just think, especially as the leader of the guild, I can't just think about myself. All right, so I'm just trying to, because if the other guild members do well, I do well. As the guild grows, they grow, I grow. Right? And actually, it's kind of like, I guess, LeBron James in basketball, how he loves to, accumulate assists. Right? It's not just about your success. It's about the team success, and that's actually more important to me than my own individual success. If I can look and say, I helped that person become a better person or a better player or whatever it is, and I helped that person, that brings me more joy than just saying I'm the best player, which of course I'm not the best player, but you get what I'm saying. All right, so I'll put a bow on this episode for now, and as usual, it's been grand. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.